Hi everyone, it's Trishna. Welcome to another pick a card reading. So in this video, we're going to focus on the question, does my ex miss me? So if you're interested in that, this is the video for you. In a second here, I'm going to show you 4 groups of cards. So pick a number 1 through 4 or pick one of those 4 cards, and then we'll get started with the reading. All right, so we have a group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take a moment to think of a number between 1 and 4 or select one of these groups. And we'll begin with the reading. Hi, group number 1. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel a lot of heavy energy coming from you. I feel a lot of longing and a lot of sadness and a lot of confusion about your situation with your ex-partner. I also feel like your partner does not miss you. Now, I don't know that that means what it sounds like it means. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. I feel like your partner thinks about you for sure. I feel like your partner loves you for sure. I feel like they care about you for sure. So I don't know that them not missing you is necessarily a bad thing. I'm going to let the cards share a little bit more and go off of that. But if I were to share more from what I'm getting intuitively, I feel like your partner maybe was really busy with something. And so a lot of their energy was put into that. Maybe it was work or maybe it was a family situation. So they didn't really have the emotional capacity at that point in time to miss you. They would think about you, but they were so caught up in something else that they weren't able to miss you. And I think for some of you, I feel like your partner maybe doesn't miss you because they're already thinking about the two of you together. They're already thinking about, well, maybe we should try again. And so because they're focused more on what are the great things that could happen if we were together, the positive side of the emotional spectrum in the romantic realm, they're not feeling the miss. So they're feeling maybe we should get back together and how should I approach it? And maybe I can surprise you with that and what would be the right way to go about that? So maybe they're just caught up and thinking about how to get back together, and they're too caught up in that to be able to miss you, if that makes any sense. So no, I don't feel like your partner misses you, but I don't know that that is a bad thing. Intuitively, what I'm feeling, that's not a bad thing. I feel like it might actually be a positive thing, but let's see what the cards have to say as well. All right, looking at the cards, I'm not really getting a clear answer. To be honest, intuitively, I felt like it was pretty clear that while they don't miss you, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It may actually be a positive thing for you. And it may actually mean that there is a reunion to come between the two of you, but just because I don't want to give hope, I wanted the cards to share a little more and go by that because the cards are a lot more randomized. But yeah, so I don't feel like they're really clarifying the answer to that question, so we'll just go with the intuitive portion of what I got. Okay, so let's look at the cards. So the first card we have is a 3 of air. I feel like this represents how you're feeling. You're feeling very lonely. You have this longing feeling. You feel very alone. I feel like this card is trying to tell you, group number 1, that you are not as alone as you think. I feel like there is somebody in your life who is there for you. It could actually be your ex-partner who is still staying in touch with you. It could be a new partner that you've currently been with. It could be a friend or it could be a family member. I feel like there is somebody in your life who is supporting you and you are not as alone as you feel like you are or as you sometimes think that you are. The next card that we have is the moon card. I feel like this is basically the divine showering a little bit of love, a little bit of luck into your relationship. I feel like the divine doesn't really know either whether or not the two of you should be together. I feel like it could go either way. The divine is like, well, if it works out, then great. If it doesn't, then great. This is one of those relationships that aren't gonna ruin or take you off your path, and they're not gonna necessarily put you on your path, but you can be on your path with this partner. So I feel like the heavens are kind of like, let's just see how this goes. We'll sprinkle a little extra luck for you, group number 1, but we'll see how this goes. The next card we have is the transformation card. And this is something that I didn't really bring up in the intuitive portion, but I felt it there. I feel like if your partner has been really caught up with work or really caught up with something else and the two of you have been separated almost as a result of that, I feel like this is important. I feel like this is what this is speaking to. I feel like this is saying, Sometimes we need time apart to be able to have an internal transformation, to really realize what's important to us and what we really need in our lives. And maybe this is why the two of you have been apart, is because your partner needed some time apart. They needed to be on their own to really get clear in their mind what it is that they need, what it is that they want, what it is that they want out of their relationship with you. And so again, I feel like this is kind of saying, hey, they've gone through this transformation. They've had this coming of the night, this dark night of the soul or whatever, and this seems to be good. Usually these transformations lead to something positive. So it starts off as something that's slow, kind of negative, something that you almost felt was already coming, something that wasn't really a surprise. But then out of that, there's supposed to be something positive that comes out of it. So I feel like this is kind of telling you, group number one, that there are positive things to come. Here's another thing that I felt in the intuitive portion that I didn't really mention. So your partner, this is the Seven of Cups. Your partner has a lot of options, a lot of things that were on their plate, a lot of paths that they could pursue. The intuitive part that I didn't share was, I don't think your partner is dating anybody else. I don't think they even really have real plans to. They might be curious about somebody else, but like, that's just not really something that they're willing to do right now, or willing to put in the effort for. So if you're worried that your partner might be seeing somebody else, I think the answer to that question is no. I feel like the distraction that they have, or the other options that they have, are other things like interests or career or family or something else. There were other things that needed to pull their attention away, but it was not another person. The next card we have is details. I feel like your partner is somebody who has a really hard time just enjoying things. They need to figure out every single aspect of something before they're willing to dive into it. And so when this comes to your relationship, I feel like they have a really hard time just letting go and enjoying the relationship and letting the relationship go where it needs to. I feel like your partner is somebody who, if they can't see where this is going to go, if they can't see how this is going to work, or if they can't figure out all the little details, they can't really get into it. They can't really enjoy it. They can't really commit themselves. They can't really be with you. So maybe this is something, group number one, that you need to think about. Maybe you need to figure out for them where this is going to go and how it's going to work. Maybe you need to have some plans because they're not able to see it. So maybe if you can show it to them, give them a plan for them, give them the logic that they are missing right now, maybe that's something that can help them figure things out in your next conversation with them, or in the next few conversations with them, because I feel like you may be in touch with them in the near future if you're not already in touch with them. So that also is kind of positive. I feel like you guys may already be in touch. Again, like even with Three of Air, they might be the person who's actually there for you right now, which is interesting. And finally, we have the coming of life. I feel like this represents you, group number one. I feel like while your partner has their own struggles with different things that are going on in their life, their transformation, their need to figure out every single detail before they can commit to anything, because if they can't see how it's going to work out, they don't think it's going to work out, and they can't relax. I feel like you have your own things to work on, and that is the coming to life. I feel like you, group number one, maybe have some growth that you need to, in terms of coming into your own power. I feel like it's maybe for a fewer percentage of you. I feel like a lot of you are in your own power, or are pretty much there. Maybe you have some struggles with emotions that you need to work through. There's something that you need to work through within yourself, some kind of struggle that you have, some kind of transformation you need to go through that is more of the intangible nature, like emotions, or probably emotions, maybe something in the spiritual realm that you need to come to terms with, that you need to grow. I feel like you've done a lot of it, but it's almost like maybe you've done 80 or 90% of it, and you need to kind of complete that last percent to really find that wholeness within you. So group number one, we answered the question, does your partner miss you or not? The answer is no. The question of, is that a good or bad thing, is a little bit up in the air. I feel like it is a good thing. I feel like they have gone through the transformation that they needed, and that you have a plan of action where you need to give them a plan. What they need is a plan to be able to mentally be able to commit to something and emotionally be able to commit to something. That's just how they're wired. Group number one, if you're interested in this relationship, again, the divine's like, I don't know, it's up to you guys. If you are interested in this relationship, which I think you very much are, yeah, you are. If you're interested, and I think it is a good idea, if it is going to work out, if you're interested in this relationship, then you need to know that their wiring is how they are wired, and this is something that you're going to have to get used to. And anytime you want to help them along with a decision that involves the two of you, maybe you want to go on a trip and you want to go to a particular location, You have to figure out the plan, the logic for them to convince them of why that makes sense, why that's okay, what it's going to look like, what are the details, why is this good for you too. So that's just something for you to know. That's really not a big deal though. Once you figure out how to do it, it's just like a little bit of annoyance, a little bit of like, ugh, but you'll know how to do it once you figure it out. All right, group number 1, that is what I got for your reading. All right, group number 2. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like your energy, you feel very, very determined about making this relationship work. I think that you are very committed to it. I think that you're also, I want to say optimistic about it as well. Like I feel like that's the wrong word because I feel like you're going to make this relationship happen. You're going to make the reunion happen. So it's not even like I hope it's going to happen, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. It's like none of that is even relevant because it's like, no, I'm going to make this happen. There is no is it going to happen, is it not? I'm going to make this relationship work. I'm going to bring us back together. Now when it comes to how your partner feels, yes, I feel like they miss you very much. I feel like they have a lot of sadness. And I feel like the reason why they aren't with you right now, even though they miss you so much, is because of that sadness or because they're not able to make it work or they're not able to somehow act on it. There's something that is keeping them from being able to act on it, whether it is not knowing the steps or not being able to, or if it's something to do with depression or sadness that they're dealing with that is keeping them from being able to connect with you. Now, here's something that I want to tell you, group number 2. I feel like it's really important that you know what you're getting yourself into because you know that you want this person and you are determined to get them. But the thing is their sadness or the depression, if that part resonates for you, this is a long journey that is going to be very difficult. It's going to have a lot of heartbreak in it for you, and it's going to be long. And because they are dealing with a lot of sadness and a lot of depression, and that is not something that you can fix. You can help them, and I think that you will be able to help them a little bit, but it will take 6 months, maybe 9 months, maybe a year before you even see a little bit of improvement. And when I mean a little bit, it really is a little bit of improvement. Because this is not just you helping them feel better and then everything's going to be happy. This is a lifelong journey you're committing to, where it's going to be up to a year before you see a little bit of improvement. And from there, it's always going to be dealing with somebody who is sad and who is depressed. And I think group number 2, you really need to decide if that is what is right for you, because of just what your life is going to look like. Your emotions are going to be put to the test over and over and over again. Not your feelings for this person, you obviously love them, that's not going to be put to the test, but your emotions and your ability to handle up and down roller coasters is going to be put to the test over and over and over again, and that is going to be how the year is going to look for you. The alternative is you let this person go as a partner, but you can keep them as a friend. But you let them go as a partner and you open yourself up to being able to allow in somebody else who is more whole, who can give you happiness, who is happy. And when I say somebody who is more whole, it doesn't mean that this person that you love right now can't ever be whole, but this is something that needs to be in the hands of a professional. And unless they're willing to do that, there's only so much you can do. And so for you to be happy, I recommend that you open yourself up to somebody new. So that's already a great start to this reading. Anyways, we will see what the cards have to say. Maybe they have something different to say. I'm always hoping for a happy ending. So whenever I hear like something like that, I'm like, well, maybe the cards will say something different. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the cards and we will read those. Well, group number 2, the cards do say something very different except for the last card, but all the other cards tell me a very, very different story, a connected story, but a very different version of how events can go. So group number 2, there's a lot of good potential here for things to actually work out. So let's get into the cards. All right, I'm excited now. All right, so the first card we have is the 7 of Air. I feel like this represents your energy. I feel like you feel very whole in yourself, and your mentality is, if I am whole, as long as I stay whole in this relationship, I can pull us forward. That's not always the case. I feel like that's actually not really the best logic to go by. That's generally not how things work, but because the rest of the reading is so positive, we're just going to gloss over that part. So you feel good, you feel happy, you're good in your solitude, you're good in your being alone while being with this person. I feel like you feel very emotionally strong and very ready to handle the battle that is ahead of you. The Nine of Fire to me represents you are not the kind of person to leave your partner behind in the dust. You will stick with them through thick and thin. Even if the two of you are not married, you treat it like you are married. You treat it like it is till death do us part. I am here to stand by you forever. I have committed to you. My heart is yours. So I feel like this again represents your energy in the situation, group number 2. Here's where things start to look pretty positive. So we have the Star card. And I feel like if your wish is, and I think it is, that the two of you get back together, it will be fulfilled. It is something that can happen. There is a positive outlook here for you. This is good. Okay, group number 2. The Eight of Wands, this represents fast communication. Now, we talked about in the intuitive portion that if this relationship is to work, your partner needs to be able and be willing to get professional help. And I think, group number 2, I think that this is very much a possibility. This might be something that they are already thinking about, something that they already have in the works. Maybe they have already made the moves for that. I think that things are going to move. This is communication coming in really quickly. I think the two of you are already communicating, so I think really in your case, intuitively, I feel it's like moving really quickly. I feel like they're going to move towards this. Or once they decide to seek professional help, your relationship is going to move forward very, very quickly because that will help them very much. The next card we have is solitude. Now, this could mean, I don't feel like it means this intuitively, it could mean that the two of you need to be alone. You need to be separated. You should be alone. But I feel like this is saying that the days of solitude may be over. That it may, because of this and because of the Star card, you two may be able to be reunited. Like things may actually start to work out for you. I feel like the days of being alone and the days of the sadness that you are both feeling, but especially them, are kind of coming to a close. This, of course, does depend on them getting the help that they need to get. But it seems like that is going to happen. And the final card, now this is the card where it's like what I was talking about in the intuitive portion. The final card is the Dragon's Lair. And I feel like this is trying to say, hey, you know, a lot of this is really positive. A lot of this is going in the right direction. And you two can have a good relationship together. Will it be perfectly, amazingly happy? Probably not. And the reason why is because this is a lifelong issue that your partner is dealing with. And so there will be downs throughout the relationship. With that said, the two of you still can be relatively happy together. You just have to know that there are going to be ups and downs. They will not be as extreme as the current situation, but they will be of a fair amount of sadness and for drops, I guess, and emotions. So just something for you to be aware of. This is a lifelong thing that you are committing to. It can work. It can work if you want it to. You will not be of your ultimate happiness, but if this is what you want, you can be relatively happy. So the way that ended sounded like it's not super great, but it seems good. I would say that it's actually a pretty positive reading. So that is what I got for you, group number 2. Hi, group number 3. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like you are in a really good place. I feel like you've done a lot of healing work and that you are very much whole being without your ex-partner currently. I feel like you want to know the answer, but you don't need to know the answer. So you're actually in a really comfortable place. Again, you've done a lot of healing, and so you are very whole on your own. You feel very complete. Now, I feel like your partner does think about you. I feel like they do miss you from time to time. I feel like they aren't able to be with you currently because they're either dealing with a lot, they have a lot on their plate, or they might have moved away, and so they're long distance. Maybe they've moved to a different country, like maybe even almost completely to the other side of the world. And I feel like, again, your partner does think about you and they do miss you. I feel like maybe they've gone on a few dates or have been dating a little bit, but nothing too serious. And I don't think any of those have ever really gone very far. And they definitely have not felt connected to anybody else nearly as much as they felt connected to you. Like they just haven't been able to find that. So they think of you very, very fondly. And In terms of whether this is something that will end up working out at any point in time, I think your ex-partner maybe is a bit emotionally unavailable. So while the idea seems really nice and appealing to them, it's probably not something that they're going to act upon. So I think that it's kind of in a stagnant place at this point in time. All right, group number 3. So looking at the cards, they look pretty good. And one of the cards actually contradicts something that I felt intuitively. So we will get into that. So slightly contradicts it. So the first card that we have is the 5 of Air. I feel like this represents you, group number 3. I feel like you have done a lot of healing work and you have finally found your balance like we talked about in the intuitive portion. Now, for some of you, it was really difficult. It was really difficult. It wasn't easy, but you were able to find that balance. For others of you, it was surprisingly easy. You were just like, wow, it was actually really easy to find my balance. But either way, you have found your balance. The next card we have is the Queen of Fire. I feel like this represents the amount of healing that you have done for your heart. Your heart is whole, you have healed it completely, and I feel like now you are more cautious, you are more watchful of those you let into your heart and those you let into your life. Now, you may look at that and say, well, doesn't that really mean that I've put my walls up? Does that really truly mean that I've actually healed if I'm not able to trust people very easily? And I would say that it's not so much about trust, and I wouldn't say that it's really putting your walls up. It is a protective type of mechanism, which you could say is anti-healing. But what I would say is you've just brought on more discernment. You have just decided like, hey, you know, I'm a pretty special person and I can't just let anybody into my life and into my heart. Like, I need to be careful with where I invest my energy, where I invest my love. And so it's not so much about protecting yourself as it is about being smart, making better decisions in this area of your life and in others. And I think part of that is the 6 of Cups. I feel like this represents that maybe you've decided that you might want to have children in the future. You might want to be a parent. And so now part of this heart healing that you've done, part of this discernment that you have, is when you look at somebody that you're thinking about dating or who may be interested in dating you, you don't just look at them as like, oh, will they make me happy? Or, oh, will we have fun? Or, oh, do they meet these other criteria? Instead, now you think about it like, would they be a good parent? Would they be a good partner if we were to have a child together? Would they be supportive? Would they be there for me? Would they be there for our children? Are they the kind of mother or father that I want for my children? Your way of looking at relationships has been transformed. And so it's not putting walls up. It's just that your views on what you are looking for have changed, and therefore you can be more discerning. You are more clear on what you want in a relationship, and you're not willing to spend energy or time on avenues that aren't going to fulfill what you are looking for in relationships. So I don't know that you've thought about it quite this way, like you haven't thought about it so intellectually, but now you do have the sense of like, whatever it is that you want. So it may not be children, but I feel like for a lot of you it is children. But if there's something else that you want, you're thinking like, is this person somebody who can actually go along on this journey? And would they be somebody that I want on this journey? Are they somebody who's going to support me and who's going to support my goals? Like, would they be that good parent for actual children, or like maybe goals or dreams that you have? The next card we have is the Knight of Wands, and this is kind of where it contradicts what I was saying before. I feel like your ex-partner is going to actually come back and want to maybe be together again, or I don't know, go on a date or something like that. And I feel like it's going to be very short-lived though. I feel like they're not truly in it to win it. I feel like it's more like a passionate thing or like a fling kind of thing that they're after. I feel like if they're coming back, it's not here to stay. And if this is not your ex-partner and it's somebody new, I feel it's the same thing. I feel like maybe they're actually in it to win it. Like, your ex-partner is not in it to win it, most likely. But somebody else could be coming in who is in it to win it, but I feel like it's just not going to work out because, again, you're discerning. You know what you want in a relationship, and I feel like just the chemistry isn't really going to be there, the passion isn't really going to be there, and the two of you are going to kind of fade away from each other, but it's going to be mutual. You're not going to be hurt. You're not going to be hurt if your ex comes back and you decide, hey, let's try it out, and then it's a fling and they leave or it doesn't work out. You're not going to be hurt if someone new comes in and then it doesn't work out. You know what you want now, and if it doesn't work, it's not going to work out no matter who it is. That's what I'm feeling. So when it doesn't work out, you're not going to be sad because you're going to be like, well, like, honestly, I don't think that they would have been a good partner for what I'm looking for. They wouldn't have made a good, like, parent or whatever. It's not going to be sour grapes. It's going to be something that it's going to be mutual. Both of you are going to kind of feel like, nah, no. So the next card we have is the Gentle Gardener. And so this may actually refer to actual gardening, but it could refer to anything else, something where you are really wanting to nurture something and you're trying to be very kind to it and very gentle with it. I feel like there's some kind of area in your life that you are trying to nurture, something that you have found a new love for, a new interest for, a new passion for, that you're channeling your heart energy to. Again, you do not have a wall in your heart. You have a lot of love to give. You're just channeling it in other areas and you are funneling it into the right people. And finally, we have the Flying card, which to me represents that you're going to have a lot of success in your life. You're going to have a lot of success coming your way, whether it's in romance or whether it is related to your career or your goals or something like that. I feel like success is coming your way, group number 3. So the only other thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap this up is we have the 5 of Air and the 6 of Cups. Together that represents 11. In numerology, we have the 2, which is the gardener, and 20, which is flying. That is 22. Both 11 and 22 are significant numbers in numerology. And so I would say that if you're wondering whether or not you are on your right path, I would say that you are. I feel like both of those numbers together indicate that you are on the right path, you're doing the right things, you are on your way, group number 3. Hi, group number 4. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is a little bit like the last love reading that I did. Like, I think it was a twin flame reading that I did for group number 4, where there's like actually another player that's involved. So here's what I'm feeling. I feel like you, group number 4, are mostly detached from the ex in question, or the ex that this is actually about. And you really have mostly moved on from them, and so you're not actually really focused on them. I think, so here's where this may not make sense to you just yet, okay? So I think you came to this reading thinking about one ex that was from your past, like farther in your past. And that's who you had in mind when you came to watch this reading. Does that ex from years ago, do they miss me? But the ex that's coming through in this reading is actually your most recent ex, who you've basically moved on from, that you've basically let go, that you really don't care that much about, that you want to move on from. That's the ex that is coming through in this reading. And so I think we have to do a bit of a shift here. So the answer that I get for does your ex miss you is that ex that you've let go of, that you're not really here for, the most recent one, that ex really, really misses you. They want to get back with you, or they're pretty sure that they want to get back together with you. They for sure miss you. Their heart is heavy. They miss you a lot. Now, the ex that you came here thinking about, yeah, they might miss you. They might think about you. I don't know that that relationship is really going to go anywhere. It's kind of in the middle. This is a general reading, so I could see it really going either way. If you were to approach that ex from years ago, they might not say yes at first, but they would think about it, and maybe they would change their mind and want to try things out. And, you know, things I think could go well in that case. If they did end up saying yes eventually, I think the two of you could be happy. I feel like this reading is really trying to, so that's one thing that you need to know. So if you want to go pursue that path, you might as well see where it's going to go. I do feel like the reading is trying to steer you towards this more recent ex. We'll see what the cards say and which one they steer us towards, but the intuitive portion is kind of steering you towards the most recent one, because I guess when it comes to does your ex miss you, the one that misses you the most maybe is the one that's going to pop up, and that's the most recent one. And that one, I feel like the two of you have a potential for a very long-term relationship there as well. I feel like in that case, it's really up to how the two of you work together. I think that this most recent ex that you've let go of, that's really coming through in the reading, is somebody who, in your relationship with them, there was a lot of like conflict. And I feel like your partner, this like ex that we're talking about, most recent one, that they feel like they're really good at resolving conflict, but they're actually really not that good at it. It's funny how they think that they are, because they're not. And they may even be the one that starts a lot of the conflict. Maybe not like by saying like, hey, we have a problem, but like in the things that they say, or maybe the way that they act, and like maybe they say a lot of stupid things that are just like, whoa, you can't say that and just move on. Like, we got to talk about what you're saying. Well, that's kind of rude, or that was like not a very funny joke. Like, I feel like one, they're often the ones that start the conflicts, and two, they think they're really good at dealing with conflict management, but they're actually really bad at it. And so when the two of you have disagreements, it's really, really hard to work with that kind of mentality. Like, it's really hard to work with somebody who thinks that they're really good at conflict resolution and therefore think you're not as good at it and that you're the problem, when it's really them that's the problem. So the length of your relationship could either be just a few months, or it could be a very, very long time, maybe even a lifetime. It all depends on, have they grown from your time apart? Have they figured out that a lot of times they're the issue and that they're not as good at conflict resolution as they think they are, and that they need to maybe adjust some of their ways? That is the question. That will dictate how far the two of you could be together. And again, I know you're not interested in them, you let them go, you want to move on, but it's coming through, so I just wanted to share that. The ultimate solution to that most recent ex and that relationship working out, I know it's not your top priority right now, but whatever reason I'm being guided to it, so we're going to talk about it in case you decide later that, yeah, I actually would like to try things again with this most recent ex. So the solution there would just be that at some point the two of you really need to be okay with each other's style of conflict and understand that that's just how you each operate, and find a way to be at peace with that. It would be nice if your partner, and I think this is still the key, if your most recent ex could work on how they, maybe not how they start conflicts, because they don't really mean to all the time, and they just need a lot of guidance on being, like, I guess, politically correct. I feel like that word is so stigmatized, like it's a bad thing now, but like sometimes people really do need to think about what they're saying, and your partner is one of them. So like they do need to learn that, but they're not always doing it on purpose. So that's really more of a guidance thing. But when you bring it up and a conflict ensues from there, they need to be, the key is that they need to know that you are not the problem, that there is an adjustment of conflict resolution styles that needs to happen. And then from there, the two of you need to be okay with each other's styles and just understand that you're different people and you have different styles. All right, so that's what I'm getting for you, group number 4 for the intuitive portion. I'm going to go ahead and look at the cards and we will see what they have to say as well. All right, group number 4. So the first card that we have is a 2 of air, and I feel like this represents that you were really focused on one thing or one particular person, and you didn't really realize that there was another one that was there as well, who is coming into view, who maybe requires your attention as well. And I feel like that really speaks to what we just talked about in the intuitive portion, where you were focused on one ex from many years ago, when there is actually the more recent one who maybe requires more of your attention and your focus at this point in time. The next card we have is the 7 of water. And I feel like this is kind of where you're at now after hearing the intuitive portion, where it's like, whoa, okay, I didn't even consider that. I didn't even know I had these options. Which path do I take? There was a lot of ones for me to think about. And I think part of it's kind of exciting. There's a lot of options, but also there are a lot of options. Which ones do you go with? Do you go with pursuing the ex from back then that you were originally planning to do, or that you were originally interested in? Do you go with working things out with your most recent ex? Do you find somebody new? Do you not be with anybody at all? Like, what's the path here? And I feel like what I'm getting for you, I'm getting that there isn't really somebody new that you should be dating. I feel like that's just not really where you're supposed to go. Now, you can do whatever you want. You can go out and date somebody new, but I feel like that's really not where your path's supposed to be at this point in time. You are supposed to mingle with somebody from your past. I think that the more recent, previous ex, the one that you had in mind when you came here, I think that that's fine. I think the two of you could be happy, and it would be certainly an easier relationship than your most recent ex, that's for sure. But I don't know, and I think I'd be happy, but I don't know that, like, it doesn't really feel like quite the right one for you. Like, you could be happy, but it would be like that boring kind of happy. I think what spirit would like for you is for you to be with that most recent ex if possible. I feel like that person is actually the right one for you. So there's that. That doesn't sound, I know that's not like what you want to hear, because it sounds like it was a very difficult relationship, but that is what I'm getting. So then we have the Page of Swords, and I feel like this represents you hearing what I just told you. You're like, I could give it a try, but it's really not going to be my best try. My heart's not really in it. Just kind of like, just doing this because I need a plan, and I guess I'll just go with that plan and see what happens. So your heart's not really going to be in it, but I do want to tell you that you have this Wheel of Fortune. This is basically saying that the way things were, the tables have been turned. So your partner before may have been the one who created the conflicts. It may have been somebody that didn't know how to resolve a conflict and who thought you were the issue. But the tables have turned. I feel like something has changed, and it's saying that there is a really good chance that this person is different than they were before, and the relationship will be much better than it was. Or if not, that there is the capability, there is a potential for them to learn really quickly that, hey, the way that I was operating before is not the way that I should be operating now. Like, whatever conflict the two of you had, I feel has maybe been made better or has a very strong potential to be able to be made better. Here we have the Strength card. I feel like your partner really misses you and is having to exercise a lot of strength within themselves to deal with the emotions of not being with you anymore. I feel like it's been quite the struggle. I don't think that you need to make a move. I don't think that you should be the one that goes to them. I feel like maybe you need to wait a little bit and see if they come to you, if this is something that you want to pursue. And in the meantime, if you want to go pursue the ex that you had in mind, why not? Go ahead, see what the answer is. There's a chance it won't be yes, at least not in the beginning, but it could turn into a yes later. It'll give them some food for thought, and that might complicate your life even further, because then this person that's your most recent ex might come in around that time, and then you'll have to choose. Then you'll be stuck here, but you know, these are all just things that you can do. I don't feel like right now you should be pursuing the most recent ex. Maybe let them come to you. If you get the inspiration to pursue them, do it then, but I don't feel like right now is the time. Ultimately, I feel like what you need to be doing is follow the leader. That is what your plan of action should be. What does that mean? That means whoever comes into your life, follow them. If it is your most recent ex, go for them. If it's your ex that you're thinking about, go for them. Follow the leader. And that does not mean that your partner is the leader and that you are not. It means that spirit is the leader. Your higher self is the leader. Whoever is figuring out your plan to happiness is the leader, and they're the ones that are bringing in these people. So it's not the people who are the leader, because spirit is the one bringing them. Spirit is the leader. Follow spirit. See what spirit brings into your life and try that out and see how it goes. If it's not good, drop it. See who else spirit brings into your life and follow that. So that is the guidance that I get for you, group number 4. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.